Well, now, you've all settled in so nicely. Blankets wrapped tight, cocoa in hand. Good.
It's funny how memories find their way back when the room is quiet and someone's listening. They wait in the walls, I think, tucked between old books and loose floorboards, soft as dust and twice as stubborn. There's one story I haven't told in a long, long time. It begins with a box, a music box to be exact, rusted, forgotten, and full of a song that changed everything. I found it in the attic the year I turned 79. The roof had started to leak just above the guest room, and I'd gone up there with a flashlight and a sigh, thinking I'd find nothing but cobwebs and a few sad-looking mice. But instead, I found her. The box. She was tucked into the far corner behind a stack of moth-eaten quilts and an old hat I'd long forgotten I owned. It was a small thing, no bigger than a teacup saucer, with a curved lid and peeling floral paint. The kind of box you'd expect to hold a ring or a prayer. I almost didn't open it, almost walked right past. But something, maybe it was the dust in the beam of light, or maybe it was that strange, tugging feeling you get when you're about to remember something you didn't know you forgot, made me stop. So I knelt, creaking at the knees, and lifted the lid. And the strangest thing happened. It played. Now, mind you, I hadn't wound it, not a single turn. But the moment that lid opened, the music began. Slow, delicate, haunting. It wasn't like any tune I remembered, not quite, but it felt familiar in a way that made my throat ache. You know how some smells take you back? Wood smoke, baby powder, fresh cut lemons? Well, this melody was like that. It wrapped around me soft and slow, like my mother's shawl on a stormy night. But here's the thing, when the song stopped, faded out on the last trembling note, I felt like I had lost something, or maybe left something behind. I didn't understand it then, not really, but I would, soon. That night, I couldn't sleep. The tune followed me, played in the silence between breaths. I tried humming it just to get it out of my head, but it twisted strange on my tongue, like a song I'd known in another lifetime. And then something else happened. My granddaughter, Clara. You remember her, the one with the wild hair and the pink sneakers. She came to stay with me that weekend, just 7 years old, full of questions and peanut butter. She was playing with her dolls near the fireplace while I folded laundry in the next room. And then I heard it, a voice, soft high, humming, the tune, the same tune. My blood ran cold. I came around the corner slowly, careful not to startle her, and there she was, sitting cross-legged on the rug, brushing her doll's hair, humming that lullaby like she'd heard it every night of her life. "Clara," I said, steady as I could, "where did you learn that song?" She looked up, blinking. "This song?" she asked, and hummed a few notes again, perfect, clear as a bell. "Yes, sweetheart." "That one." She shrugged. "I don't know. It just came out. It's in my head sometimes when I'm sleepy." She went back to her dolls like it was the most normal thing in the world. But I stood there, frozen, because here's the truth. No one else should know that song. No one. Not unless they were there. Now listen closely, my loves, because this is where the story really begins. You see, when I was a little girl, no older than Clara, or there was a lullaby my mother used to hum to me. Not every night, only on the nights when I cried in my sleep, when the dreams came. She'd come in without turning on the light, sit at the edge of my bed, and hum that tune until the shaking stopped. And just like Clara, I never knew where it came from. It wasn't in any book, not on any record. But it soothed me, it held me, and when she died, far too young, taken by the kind of illness that steals more than breath. The song died with her, or so I thought. I never heard it again, not from anyone, not until that rusted music box sang it into the attic air, decades later, and not until Clara hummed it, like the memory had passed through blood and bone and time, like it had been waiting in our veins. That night, after Clara fell asleep, I crept into her room. The moonlight fell across her little bed in a way that reminded me of my own childhood room. Wallpaper peeling at the corners, a nightlight shaped like a rabbit blinking in the dark. I sat beside her, heart trembling, and reached out to brush the hair from her forehead. She stirred, but didn't wake, and I did something I hadn't done in more than 70 years. I hummed the lullaby, soft, tentative, note by note, and she smiled in her sleep. I sat there until the sky turned pale, the house so quiet I could hear the tick of the clock in the hallway, and in that quiet, I began to remember little things at first, the feel of my mother's hands, the way her hair smelled like rose water and wood smoke, the way she hummed that tune, not from joy, but from sorrow, deep sorrow, like the lullaby was more than comfort, like it was a secret. So, that melody, that strange lullaby, it had woken something in me, not just memory, need. The need to know. Why did it come back now? Why did Clara, my Clara, know it without ever being taught? It didn't feel like coincidence, it felt like calling. The next morning, I made oatmeal with too much cinnamon and set Clara's favorite blue bowl at the table. She came skipping in, ponytail crooked, eyes still puffy from sleep. She hummed the tune under her breath while dragging her spoon through the oatmeal. I sat down across from her watching. She didn't notice at first. Then she paused. "Grandma, are you mad?" I blinked. "No, love. Just thinking." She tilted her head. "You're thinking loud." I smiled. She always could see through me. After breakfast, I climbed back up into the attic. The old beams groaned under my steps, groaned like they remembered too. Dust hung in the air like breath not taken. I took the music box into my lap, this time with a notepad and pen beside me. I played it again, wound it once. The melody creaked out, slower now, a little warped, but still the same. And as I listened, I began to see things, not in some magical way, no, just in the way memory wraps around sound, one note pulling another from the depths. I remembered my mother sitting at the window after my father left. She never cried in front of me. She just stared at the trees like they were trying to give her answers. I remembered the way she'd hum the lullaby right before she told me a story. Stories that didn't come from books. Ones about a woman with a song inside her, a lullaby passed down through the women in our family, a song that kept grief from swallowing them whole. I used to think she made those stories up. But maybe she didn't. There's a thing that happens when you start unearthing old truths. It's like pulling a thread from a sweater. You don't realize how deep it's woven until the whole thing starts unraveling. That evening, after Clara went to bed, I called my sister. Yes, my sister, your Aunt Lou. We hadn't spoken in years. Not out of spite, just out of time and distance, and the lazy silence that sometimes grows between people who used to share everything. But I needed her. The phone rang 6 times. Then, "Evelyn," her voice was smaller than I remembered. "It's me," I said. "I found something." We talked for hours. She remembered the lullaby too, said she used to hear Mama hum it when she thought we were asleep. "She only ever sang it when she was scared," Lou whispered, "like it protected her from something." We sat in silence after that, both of us lost in rooms inside ourselves. Lou told me something I'd never known. After Mama died, she found a box of letters tucked under the floorboards in Mama's old hope chest. Most were scribbled, unfinished, but they all mentioned the same thing, the song. She'd written it like that, capital S. The song is not just a tune, one letter said. It's memory, it's protection, and it only passes through the women. Only the ones who need it will hear it. Lou never understood what it meant until now. After I hung up, I sat in the kitchen staring at the moonlight on the floor, hands wrapped around a cup of tea gone cold, and then I heard humming, not mine, Clara's, floating down the hallway, soft and eerie and so certain. I walked to her room quietly. She wasn't asleep this time, just lying there, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. "Grandma," she whispered as I stepped in. "Yes, sweetheart," she hesitated. "Sometimes when I sing that song, I see her." My breath caught. "See who?" Clara turned her head toward me. "The lady in the window." I didn't move. "She's not scary," she added. "She's just sad." And she hums it with me. My knees nearly gave out. Because once, just once, when I was 7, I saw someone too, in the same house, at the same window, and Mama told me it was a dream. Clara sat up slowly. "Is she real?" I knelt beside her bed. "I don't know," I said truthfully, "but I think she might be part of us." She nodded like she already knew, then laid back down, pulling the blanket to her chin, and whispered, "Night, night, music, lady." I didn't sleep that night. I kept the music box on my lap and read through Mama's old journals, the ones I'd packed away and never looked at again. And on the back page of one, written in faded ink, was a note: "If she sings the song, she carries the memory. Tell her before it's too late." I read that line over and over again until the morning birds began to sing. You see, I thought the lullaby was just a tune. I thought it was grief wrapped in melody, but I was wrong. It was a line stretching through generations, mother to daughter, loss to healing, silence to voice. And Clara, little Clara, had caught it, just like I had, just like Mama before me. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but memory is a strange creature. It doesn't live in order like chapters in a book. It lives in scent, in sound, in the way the light falls on the carpet, just so. That week, the one after Clara hummed the lullaby and the letters began to make sense, memory stirred in me like dust rising from an old floorboard. Little pieces came back, soft and sharp all at once, and I started seeing Mama everywhere. Not her ghost, no, nothing like that, but her presence in the steam curling from the kettle, in the shape my hand made when I tied Clara's braid, in the hush before sleep when the air thickened with something just beyond reach. I spent the next morning in the garden. It was late spring. That perfect edge of the season when things start blooming with too much color, like they've been holding their breath all winter. I brought the music box with me, set it down on the little stone bench beneath the cherry tree. Wound it once, let it play. Clara sat beside me, holding her knees to her chest. She didn't say a word, just listened. And then she started humming again, quietly at first, then full, soft, sure. I watched her from the side. She looked like Mama in that moment, not in the face, but in the stillness, the knowing. And I realized something. This lullaby, this strange, rusted melody wasn't just about comfort. It was about remembrance. And remembrance is a kind of love, the quiet kind, the kind that waits. Later that day, we visited the church graveyard. Clara brought flowers, picked from the garden without asking, bless her, and she placed them on the little gray stone that bore Mama's name. Was she nice? She asked. I smiled. She was complicated, brave, sad, beautiful, loud. When she laughed, Clara nodded like she understood. She visits me sometimes. I didn't question it. I'd stopped questioning Clara days ago. That evening, I opened the back of the music box. I'd never looked inside before. The mechanism was rusted, yes, but still intact. And inside, beneath the wheel and pins tucked behind a slat of wood, was something else. A piece of folded paper, fragile, almost see-through with age. I took it out, hands trembling. It was a note, short, written in Mama's handwriting. If she sings the song, she bears the sorrow, but also the strength. Tell her what happened. Tell her what we never could. I sat down hard in the kitchen chair, stared at those words until the sun went down. That night, I told Clara a story, one I'd never told anyone, not even your grandfather. When I was about your age, I said, Mama had a sister. Clara leaned in. Her name was Isabel. She was soft and quick-witted and sang like a morning bird. Clara blinked. Yeah, I never heard of her. No, I said. Most haven't. I paused. She disappeared one night. No note, no explanation. Just gone, Clara frowned. Where did she go? I sighed. No one ever found out. But Mama always believed she ran. From something. Or someone. Clara's voice got small. Was she scared? I think so. Mama used to hum that lullaby every night after Isabel vanished, like it was the only way to keep her sister close. I wiped my eyes. I didn't understand it back then. Thought it was just a sad song, but now, Clara whispered. Now, I said, I think it was a key, a way to carry memory, to pass it along when words got too heavy. Clara looked down at her hands, then said softly, she was humming it. Who? The lady in the window. She looked like a younger you, but sadder. My breath caught. Maybe, I said slowly, that wasn't me. There are stories in every family that go untold, sometimes from shame, sometimes from fear, sometimes just because no one asks. But the lullaby, it was a way through the silence, a thread we could follow, and Clara somehow had picked it up. The next day, we found another box in the closet behind my wedding dress and a shoebox full of old Christmas cards. This one was smaller, velvet-lined, locked, but I knew where the key was, taped to the back of Mama's photo in the living room. I'd always wondered why the photo was slightly tilted. Inside the box, photographs of Mama and Isabel, young, barefoot, holding hands by a river I didn't recognize, and one folded letter addressed simply to the girl who hears the song. I couldn't bring myself to open it, not yet, so I handed it to Clara. She took it with both hands as if it weighed something more than paper, and she said, I think she wants us to read it together. That night, we lit a candle, sat by the window, and opened the letter. The candle flickered like it knew what was coming. Clara sat beside me on the couch, her knees pulled up, the letter trembling just a little in her hands. The music box sat on the table nearby, its lid open, silent now, as if it too was holding its breath. I reached out and rested my hand over hers. Go on, sweetheart, I whispered. You read it. So she unfolded the paper, careful and slow, and she began. To the girl who hears the song, if you've found this, then you know it's not just a melody. It's a thread, a tether, a memory, too big to carry in words alone. My name is Isabel. And I was your great aunt. Maybe you've heard whispers, or maybe nothing at all. I vanished from your grandmother's life a long time ago. It wasn't a choice made easily, it was one made to survive. Clara paused, looked up at me. I nodded. Keep going, love. When I was 15, I began to hear the song. Mama hummed it sometimes when she thought no one was listening. But it wasn't until I started humming it back that she truly looked at me, as if the song had chosen me too. She sat me down, just like you're sitting now, and she told me the truth, that in our family, the women carry more than stories. We carry the ache, the grief, the memory of what was lost, and with it, the strength to hold others through their own sorrow. Clara swallowed hard. Her voice shook now. The night I left, I didn't leave to abandon. I left because the silence around me was crushing. No one knew how to help me carry what I'd begun to feel. The music wouldn't stop playing in my dreams. The memories weren't just mine, they were Mama's and hers before her, and they lived inside the song. If you hear it now, it means you've begun to remember too, even things you never lived. It means you're part of this thread and you're not alone. Clara stopped reading. She was crying quietly. I pulled her into my arms and held her tight, just like my mama used to hold me. The letter slipped from her fingers and landed gently on the floor, and we sat there for a long time. No words, just breath, just closeness. Sometimes that's enough. Later that night, after she'd gone to bed, I sat with the letter again, reread it from start to finish, and then I did something I never thought I'd do. I sang the lullaby, not just the hum, not just the notes, but the words, the ones I'd forgotten I remembered. They came back to me like sunlight through fog, slow, then all at once, and I understood. It wasn't just a lullaby, it was a blessing, a promise, a prayer wrapped in melody. When night falls low and hearts grow wide, let song be shelter, love be guide. Through blood and bone, we pass it on, the song that keeps us holding on. I wept, not because I was sad, but because something had been returned to me, something sacred. The next day, Clara asked to wind the music box herself. She did so carefully, and when it played, she sang the melody back, word for word, like she'd always known. And I knew then the song had found her, and she would carry it further than I ever could. The months passed softly. Clara kept humming, in the car, while drawing, sometimes while brushing her teeth. She'd catch me watching her and smile like she knew exactly what I was thinking. We planted flowers in the yard that spring, lavender and forget-me-nots and a climbing rose that wrapped itself around the porch railing. She picked a spot beneath the window for a little stone. We engraved it simply, "For Isabel. You were never forgotten." Sometimes at night, Clara would still say she saw the lady in the window, but now she said the lady smiled, said she mouthed the words to the lullaby, that her eyes weren't sad anymore. I like to believe her. I like to believe Isabel and Mama and all the women before us have found their way into the light through Clara, through the song. One day she'll ask for the music box, and I'll give it to her without fear, because I know now it's not the box that holds the magic. It's the remembrance, the melody, the way our voices become bridges between what was and what still matters. And so, my loves, if ever you hear that tune, whether in your dreams or drifting from an attic or humming through the lips of someone you love, don't be afraid. It means you've been chosen to remember, to hold the ache and carry the light, to sing for those who couldn't, and to love deeper because of what they endured. That's what the music box taught me. That's what Clara reminded me. And that, little ones, is our song now.